Welcome to the Be Amazing podcast. On this show, we'll give you the fuel you need through motivational pep talks, the fitness tips to be your healthiest self, fortitude to push through the hardships, and focus you need to build the skills needed for the next level, no matter what that looks like to you. I'm your host, Cel Smart. I'm a wife, a mom, community leader, and fitness professional of over 18 years. I'm here to be your biggest cheerleader, advocate, and connector. Let's be amazing together. Just finished my run, and usually I'll do these videos and try to make them like a minute long and put them on my story on Instagram. But now I'm starting just to record after I run, or record when I just feel like I have something that maybe I am working on, or something that I feel like could be helpful for someone else. So the past 2 weeks, I have made a point of going mountain biking once a week. And if you back up 10 years ago, when my husband first asked me to mountain bike, I refused. The biggest reason I refused is it scared me. Going downhill scares me. Doing anything that is risky scares me. Just anything that would challenge me that I'm not used to doing, or that I'm not aware of, I will choose the calculated risk way. And mountain biking, because my husband is a risk taker, and I'm sweating a lot. Like I said, I just finished running. He's a risk taker. So he's used to bombing down hills with his buddies on their bikes. I don't know how many times he's come home over the past 10 years where he's hit trees, where he's broken his elbow, where he's busted up, like all of that. And I am not that person. I love activity. I love movement. But I am extremely cautious and careful. So getting on a mountain bike for me was very stressful to begin with. But last year I challenged myself. I was like, it's time to face fears. Anything that scares me, I want to face it head on. And I know I'm going to grow in the process. So that was kind of my whole desire, was that I wanted to get stronger. I wanted to overcome fear. I wanted to see what it would do for me, not just from a physical standpoint of trying something new, but also just from the standpoint of I can overcome this fear, this challenge. So I will tell you, the first, 5 or 6 times on the bike, I probably cried every time. I mean, it was crying going down a hill. It was crying I fell off my bike. It was just like, I literally had to cry through the challenge. And this weekend was so much fun because I caught myself overcoming a challenge. We went to Mountain Creek, and there's this hill. And if you don't get enough momentum going downhill, getting up the hill is what makes it so challenging. Because I am very cautious, I don't go flying down the hill as fast as my husband. Now, I do pick up more speed now because I'm more comfortable and confident in what I'm doing, but still not enough to get me up the hill as much as I want. But I had enough leg strength and enough power to push myself and push through the challenge. And when I got up the hill, I'm grinning like so big and started laughing. And my husband's like, what are you laughing about and smiling so big? I was like, I just got up that hill. Like, that hill used to beat me. So it just was like such a good reminder to myself of when we face challenges, that what can happen when we overcome them, or what can happen when we cry our way through something. Because sometimes you have to. I mean, I don't know about you, but not every challenge I have faced has been easy. And there have been moments I wanted to quit, and I wanted to just drop it and move on. And there are a couple times, even with the bike, where I'm like, this is just not for me. I can remember even telling people, like, I'm not a mountain biker. I don't mountain bike. Like, no, I don't like it. Not going to do it. And a lot of that just comes from insecurity and the fact that I was doing something that scares me. So that has actually opened the door for me to challenge myself to new things. So this year I did snowboarding. Now I went to snowboard camp because I am a camp person, a class person, a clinic person. I want to get with a group. I want to learn. I met my friend Sarah at snowboard camp, and we hit it off. And now she's come to like a Be Amazing event we did this year. She came to my birthday this year. Like, you just don't know who you're going to meet when you open the door for like showing up for something that may scare you and realizing you're going to meet other people that feel the same way. And it's all of a sudden you have this connection. So that's what happened for us at snowboard camp. Thank you so much to Novice Studios for sponsoring the Be Amazing podcast. You might have noticed Be Amazing has a new look, new titles, and a YouTube channel. Kristen Stegall and her team helped me put a new look and strategy in place to take Be Amazing to the next level. If you want to launch a podcast, revamp your existing podcast, or hand off your production to an experienced team, schedule a call with Kristen at novicestudiosclt.com or head to the link in our show notes. And so she now texts me on stuff that she's challenged herself to do. And she's like, look, I did it. And we celebrate each other's victories over it because it really is exciting when you overcome something, when you build that confidence. And I just want to encourage you, like if there's something that you're facing that's a challenge, or there's something in your life that you want to do and fear is like the one thing that stops you every time, just take a step towards it. So maybe find if it's like what I do, I go to a class or I get with a coach or I find somebody that knows some more than I do to learn. Like get yourself in a position or position yourself where you can start taking steps towards that and just keep showing up. So whether it's a physical challenge, whether maybe it's going back to school, I mean, maybe it's making a phone call you need to make, maybe it's taking on a new job, you know, with everything we have opportunity and challenge. And so that's my challenge to you is to face a challenge. And I'd love to hear about it. I'd love to hear about the challenge that you have chosen, whether it can be fitness, it can be life stuff, it can be taking a step out to start your business, like whatever it is that's challenging you, like I would love to hear about it. And I'd love to talk with you about it right here on the Be Amazing podcast. Like that's what this platform is for, because I think when we hear other people's stories, when we hear other things that people are going through, that's what encourages us and motivates us to move forward. And I know that's the reason I started this podcast, because for me, it's helpful. For me, it's value. For me, it helps me move forward in the things and the desires and like going after things, because otherwise, like I would just like stay in the same spot. And even though I've turned 50, and I will take a second to talk about this because this is the challenge for me. It was turning 50 and kind of feeling like the past couple of weeks, I've felt very pulled back and reserved because I took on a big challenge. I took on a competition and I competed in something and I went after it and I didn't get it. And I felt so discouraged after that. And I just felt like, man, like just felt my age at that point. Like, wow, like, am I too old for this stuff? Like, man, God, why didn't that happen for me? And while I was on my run today, I was listening to a podcast with Furtick, and he was talking about that we always tend to tell the story of why we're hurt and disappointment and discouragement and all of that, instead of telling the part of our story of like, no, there was purpose in it. I grew from it. Like, and that's what I can say to you now. This is like 6 weeks later. I grew from throwing myself in that challenge. I grew from getting on stage and being myself and being me at 50. I grew from meeting people all over the country. I grew into coming home and becoming more focused and more dialed in on my work and really falling back in love with my podcast. Like, it's really helped me dial in. So I am thankful for a challenge. I am thankful that I threw myself into that. I am thankful that it is helping me gain more confidence because I know I can step out and do things. And I know that not everything is for me, but there is something in it for me. There's growth in it for me. So that's what challenge is all about, is like we gain confidence through everything and every step we take. And it may not always go the direction that we want to or we want it to go, but it gives us confidence to keep moving forward. And guess what? There is something on the other side of it. Like, I know because I went through that I gained something for myself in the fact of I am 50, I am fit, I am strong, I'm resilient. And I know that there is more for me to do. And I know that even with this podcast, there's more for me to do. And it gives me the confidence to move forward and just get out there and be on my own. Because I'll tell you, the challenge for me to do solo podcasts has been a lot. Like, I haven't wanted to do solo podcasts because I always felt weird. I was like, why does anybody want to listen to me talk? Like, what have I got to say? But because I've gone through that experience in itself, and there were some moments that I had to talk on camera and stand on stage alone. And I've been moderating for over a year and a half and hosting for events. Like, it's helped me gain confidence. And so now I'm like, oh my gosh, like, yeah, I've got something to say. And yeah, I can say it on my podcast. And whoever needs to hear it's going to hear it. And whoever it lands with, it's going to land with. So I just encourage you, if you have a challenge or you're thinking about it, go for it, because you're going to gain something out of it regardless, whether it's overcoming that challenge or it leads you to the next one, or it gives you confidence that you didn't have before. So I just encourage you to go face that challenge and then tell me about it. And then let's get on this podcast and talk about it. So stay tuned. There'll be more episodes coming, but thank you for joining me today. You can follow me at Cel Smart on Instagram. You can email me at itscel@gmail.com. You can also go to my website, celiasmart.com. And I would love to hear from you.
Thank you so much for listening to the Be Amazing podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, please send it to someone who inspires you so they can feel amazing too. If you want to help us reach new listeners, please leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. Don't forget, you can find the video versions of our episodes on YouTube. Follow us on Instagram at the Be Amazing Podcast or DM me at Cel Smart. I'll see you in the next episode.